Major funding for A Taste of Louisiana with John Folse and Company is made possible in part by Zatarain's authentic New Orleans-style dinner mixes. Zatarain's, a good way to jazz up dinner and a real New Orleans original since 1889.
Louisiana. She's the exception and never the rule. She's a mystery that asks not to be solved, but simply to be experienced. Louisiana, where you can come as you are and leave different. Additional funding is provided by the Friends of Louisiana Public Broadcasting and the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting.
It's hard for one to envision that at the end of this winding two-lane country road stands an elaborate Victorian mansion. What's even more difficult to believe is that this 5,000 square foot home was moved to this site in 1974 to escape demolition. No small accomplishment, y'all. Built by Eras Landry, a prominent sugar planter back in 1871, the home is a perfect example of the marriage between Cajun country manor and Victorian opulence. Even more spectacular than architectural style, though, was the presence of 3 centuries-old live oaks and a 100-year-old pecan that creates the perfect frame for this exquisite portrait. I'm Chef John Folse. Welcome to Carencro, Louisiana, and to La Maison de Campagne, 9 acres of pure relaxation. Guests choose this country house because they want to savor an evening where they really are away from it all. JoeAnn and Fred Mclemore combine their flair for decorating to present the most elegant ambiance possible. The parlor is rich with Victorian rosewood furniture and other priceless pieces, such as this 50-year-old silver service. This early buffet is perfect for setting out a large country breakfast that JoeAnn is known for. An accomplished cook, she has authored her own cookbook entitled Lâche pas la patate, French for Don't Drop the Potato. Y'all, you just have to get a copy of that one. The Mclemores pay special attention to detail and have decorated the central hallway with beautiful antiques. Y'all, take a look at this staircase. The newel post has intricate and elegant patterns. Just step on up and retire to the second floor, complete with its 3 unique bedrooms reminiscent of a true country estate. Here in the hallway, you might want to check out tomorrow's menu board. Y'all don't tell anybody, but when I was there, I snatched the recipe for the fruit frappe. It's delicious. The French room is elegant with its 1890s queen-size bed with matching dresser and armoire. The 2 porcelain German lamps next to the bed grace this room and are the perfect accent. Why not walk over to the corner over there and record your own private journals in this little alcove? The white iron canopy bed with homemade quilt can be found in the country room. These golden oak accessories give it the perfect feel of turn-of-the-century ambiance. La Maison de Campagne, in addition to its Victorian elegance, offers yet another piece of history at the rear of the property. This sharecropper's cottage, originally from another plantation, was moved here and completely restored with its 100-year-old Pekis cypress. Look at here. And y'all, it even has its own full kitchen. The king-size cypress bed and additional single bed makes this cabin perfect for families traveling through Acadiana. This truly is a country house, and its magnificent oaks and its large wraparound porches will certainly entice you to indulge in a little bit of our southern relaxation. Y'all, people choose a B&B for a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's because of the architecture of the home. Other times it's because of the fabulous interior furnishings, the antiques, the ambiance of the rooms, the drapes, and all of those things. But often because of its location. Just think about it. B&Bs can be located right outside of the city, but often they're in the rural areas around the state, and that's what makes them exciting to some people, to get away from it all. And it's definitely what the house in the country, Maison de Campagne, is all about. And being out in the country, naturally, a lot of the foods associated with that house has to do with the swamp lands, the Bayou country of Louisiana, and no more important ingredient in that area than mushrooms and venison. And of course, we're going to cook both of those today. So let's take a look at my platter, because this is one of the first dishes that I discovered at that gorgeous B&B. This is a tenderloin of venison, y'all. And the tenderloin is lean, obviously very lean, but the most tender of all meats, whether it's from venison or whether it's from beef, pork, veal, whatever. And this particular piece right here is a farm-raised venison. There's a lot of different deer that you can actually, hunters go out and bring in, all type, whitetail, mule deer, but fallow deer is one of those that comes from the farms, the deer farms in Louisiana, and this is where this tenderloin comes from. So I'm going to put a little salt and pepper onto it, and then a little Creole seasoning onto the tenderloin, and then garlic. You want to put a lot of garlic on the outside of this, and herbs to your liking, y'all. Basil, thyme, of course. I like rosemary too on venison, but you see how I'm coating it in and pressing it ever so nicely into the venison. I want to coat that tenderloin just beautifully. Now I have to saute it. So into my cast iron skillet, I'm going to put a little bit of a buttery flavored oil, and not too much, because all I want to do is sear this venison. I want to put a nice little crispy edge on the outside of it. It's important, y'all, to remember, when you sear a tenderloin of any type of meat, don't use a fork, y'all. You're going to punch holes in it, and all of those natural juices are going to run right out of that beautiful tender piece of meat. So use a pair of tongs to turn it very quickly. Look how fast this tenderloin just kind of sears and seals in the juices of that venison. Of course, all of those herbs are going to crust just beautifully on the outside. I love game meat, and I think the United States is very excited nowadays at the availability of all of the wild game that's coming off of these domesticated, free-range, I guess I should say, farms around the country. It makes it available to us even in our local grocery stores. So go out and get a piece of farm-raised venison, especially if you're looking at lowering cholesterol. Now, you see how nice this is browning here? Well, I have one that's already done over here. I want you to take a look in this skillet right in front of me here. Look how beautiful this is, browned and nice and crusty and coated. But look at the inside color, y'all. Beautifully pink, medium rare. Now, I'm going to put my other ingredients into it. I'm putting some little potatoes, some little tomatoes down into that. I'm going to add a little bit herbs. I want to put some more of the herbs down. I can even put some more onions if I wanted to. I'm just going to make a little braising liquid here, y'all. So just kind of seal that around the edge and put that flavor down in there. I wish you could smell this venison. Now into that, a little stock. Of course, if I had the bones of the venison, I would naturally want to make a nice venison stock with this and pull all of that beautiful wild game flavor out of the bones. I would let this cook for just a couple of minutes, and I want you to remember that on venison or other game, please don't overcook it. You want to keep that medium rare flavor, that medium rare look, because that's going to keep the venison most tender. I have some already done and plated up over here, so let's take a look at it. The venison has been cooking for only about 10 or 15 minutes, so y'all, I'm going to add a little touch of that gorgeous stock that came out of the bottom. Oh, can you taste this right through the screen here? Look at that. And all the vegetables are just sauteed so nicely on the bottom of the plate. And then a little rosemary right on top of it. And a magnificent piece of venison, y'all. And again, you can buy venison right in your grocery store. Now, my second dish I want to do for you, if I use terms like, I don't know, let's think of a couple of them. Enoki, shiitake, wood's ear, button. What am I talking about, y'all? I'm talking about mushrooms, of course, in the swamplands of Louisiana. Give us so many different varieties. Chanterelles, of course, great chanterelles in Louisiana. So I want to do for you today one of our basic dishes using mushrooms, and that is a crawfish and tasso stuffed mushroom. And I want to show you two pieces of meat here, y'all. Just take a look here. The long piece of sausage is called andouille, probably our most famous of the seasoning meats of the Germans and Cajuns of Louisiana. And this little piece of ham, you can see the smokehouse grid. This is our tasso, the most, again, spicy of our flavoring meats. So I want to make a nice dish using all of the ingredients here, the peppers, the mince, and I'm mincing all of my vegetables because this is going to go into these giant button mushrooms. So it's a nice sauce and a filling at the same time. So let's take a look here at the saute pan because I want to just kind of get this nice cast iron hot as I can to make this beautiful sauce, y'all. And first I'm going to put a little touch. Again, I use the buttery flavored oil, but you can use any type of salad oil, vegetable oil, corn oil. It doesn't matter. Even olive oil makes a really, really nice saute. The important thing is that you want to wilt these vegetables quickly. Again, this is a baked dish. We're going to finish this in the oven, so you don't have to completely cook it in the skillet. You want to form all of your beautiful flavors, marry them together here. Onion, celery, bell pepper. You see the color again? Color because this is a stuffing. And you want to have a lot of color in stuffing. So I'm going to saute this around for just a second, y'all, and now I'm going to put in the spicy diced tasso. The tasso is smoky. It has garlic and pepper in it, so it's going to be a really wonderful, wonderful flavor. And as I saute this around, the tasso is going to be adding that nice spice and smoke right into that buttery flavored oil. Y'all, there's about 40,000 different species of mushrooms in the world. Can you imagine that? 40,000. And it's the Japanese that started to cultivate them first, many thousands of years ago, and they cultivated the shiitake mushroom. So when you go into the grocery stores and you see the shiitakes, just imagine how long those have been around. However, in Louisiana, we love the oyster mushrooms, the chanterelles that we get out of the bayous, and naturally, the button mushrooms, which we can get right in the store. Now, look at the chopped crawfish, y'all. Huh, beautiful red swamp crawfish. Look at that meat, full of juice. Absolutely wonderful. We want to saute that crawfish right around in there for a second. This is not only the stuffing, it is the sauce as well. So to create the sauce now, I'm going to put in just enough flour. Remember, when I put white flour into a dish, I'm making a white roux and asking that flour to pick up just that little bit butter that's in the bottom of the skillet. Now I'm going to add my tomato sauce because this is a sauce cardinal. What does cardinal mean, y'all? Red, pink, beautiful color. Put that in and saute that around for just a second, and then a little bit stock, just a little touch of stock, and the stock is coming out of my big stock pot here. I love to have a stock pot going on the stove at all times. Take a look at my crawfish and crab stock that I have right here. Just a really nice stock pot. And in Louisiana, we have so much naturally fresh seafood. It's always great to keep a stock pot going if you're making a gumbo or a soup or even, y'all, stuffing mushrooms. I'm going to put some of this right down into my little skillet because I'm going to also put some cream down in here. And I'm going to let this saute. I'm making a beautiful stuffing, but at the same time, as I said, y'all, I'm also making a wonderful sauce for that stuffing. So look how this is simmering away just beautifully. Now I'm going to season it, of course, with some salt, pepper, herbs of every imaginable kind. And I did say I was putting them in here minced, remember, because I want this to go down into the middle of the mushroom. Now I'm going to finish this with a little cream, and I'll show you exactly how it looks when we come back. But I went into the kitchens at Maison de Campagne, y'all, and took a lesson from JoeAnn Mclemore in the art of making a lemon pie, but not only that, the secret to great meringue. And guess what? I'm going to share it with you just as I did with all of my chefs. Let's go into the kitchen with JoeAnn. JoeAnn, when I was walking through this kitchen just a while back, I discovered what I consider to be not only the prettiest lemon pie I ever saw in my life, without a doubt, the tastiest lemon pie. And you were good enough to share that recipe with me. So do you mind if I share the recipe with everybody else out
I'd be glad for you to. Thank you.
Okay, in your pie pot here, and this is a great pot, you have water?
Yes, a cup and a half of water.
Okay, and then I'm going to add to that
half a cup of cornstarch.
Okay, and that becomes the thickening agent, naturally.
That's right.
And then 4 egg yolks, which is also, by the way, a nice thickening agent, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and we whip all of that in like that. Okay, and now the sugar.
1.5 cups of sugar.
1.5 cups. I'll dump that in. And look how pretty that color is. A nice pale yellow, right? And now the lemon juice, huh? Now,
all right, a cup and a half of lemon juice.
Cup and a half, and y'all, I discovered that the secret to this pie is not only the lemon juice, it's the fact that you grow your own lemons here. So this
Right, yes, we have several trees. Get about 600 off of 2 trees.
600, and then
That's
you
right.
squeeze the lemon juice and save it?
Right, we're able to have fresh lemon pie in the middle of the winter.
Oh my God,
yes,
what a
zest and lemon juice.
So now once this comes to a boil, it'll set, how do you know when it's done?
When it's very, very thick.
So it just kind of all seizes together in the pot.
That's right.
And then we would add a couple tablespoons of butter to it.
That's right.
And a little bit fresh zest.
tablespoon.
And that's it, right? Okay, now let me move this out of the way, because the real secret, I think, to this pie, y'all, is the meringue. Now, look at this meringue right here, how fantastic it is. Tell me the secret to your meringue.
Well, I've added, combined 3 ingredients: a teaspoon of cream of tartar, 4 egg whites, and 1/4 cup of sugar.
Right, and now you have to whip it on a real high speed.
That's right. We want to whip it long enough so that when you feel the meringue like this, you no longer feel the grains of sugar in it.
And because that's what makes it weep.
It will weep. That's right.
Now that's a tip.
Off.
That's a tip I picked up here today.
Right.
And then how do you garnish the top of the pie with it?
Well, we want to start around. This is my way of doing it too.
And then you just continue all the way on around.
That's right.
Now we have a pre-baked pie shell right here, but when you bake your pie, how long do you bake the shell?
Well, I want to bake the shell according to the manufacturer's directions here, but when I do my own from scratch, I bake it for about 9 or 10 minutes at 450.
And then once the meringue's on, how long does it stay in the oven?
About 7 or 8 minutes at 450 again.
That has got to be one of the most gorgeous pies when it comes out of the oven. And y'all, I want you to take a look at this pie right here. This is right out of the oven. How many minutes was that?
That was about 7 or 8 minutes, 450.
Not only beautiful as you see it here, but again, one of the tastiest lemon pies you'll ever put in your mouth. Now, I ought to be able to take that one home with me, huh, JoeAnn?
If Fred would agree, which I doubt that he would, so we better cut it now.
We'll let him share a slice or two.
Okay.
Well, y'all, you now have the secret. You have to whip the egg whites for a long time, but make sure the sugar is totally dissolved. And then you don't have to smooth it on with some big spatula. Put it in dollops like that. I thought it was just beautiful. Best pie I ever ate. Now, y'all, I finished my sauce and cardinal stuffing. Now, look at here. Right into these beautiful caps. You can see it becomes the stuffing and the sauce. And just continue this until they're all filled. And then you put them in a 350-degree oven and bake them. Put a lot of sauce on there too, y'all. Make sure that it kind of floats in sauce on the bottom of the plate. And bake them at about 350, 75 degrees for about 10, 15 minutes to get them bubbling. Look at what they look like when it's all said and done. Just an absolutely gorgeous dish. Now, a couple of other great dishes I found at Maison de Campagne. Take a look at this, y'all. The upside-down orange biscuits. These are biscuits rolled out jelly roll fashion, a little cinnamon and nutmeg on the middle of the dough, your favorite biscuit recipe, and then put them into a pan that's been coated in the bottom like a muffin pan with some orange juice concentrate, sugar. Just make a nice orange marmalade almost. Stick the biscuits down in there and bake them. That's what they look like right here. And then your deep fried asparagus spears. Well, you've heard of frying a lot of different vegetables. Go ahead and deep fry asparagus spears. Not only are they fantastic as an appetizer, They are really, really a great vegetable. Well, Maison de Campagne, a gorgeous bed and breakfast, and Fred Mclemore, the owner, husband of JoeAnn, was the first president of the B&B Association in Louisiana, and he's an authority on the subject and told me everything I needed to know about why one should get into the B&B business, certainly why some people get out of it, but what's great about being a B&B owner in the Bayou State. Let's visit with him. Fred, it's hard to believe sitting in this magnificent bedroom with this gorgeous furniture behind me and, of course, these pastel colors, that this 5,000 square foot home was actually moved here. Tell me a little bit about the history of it.
Yeah, John, most folks can't really believe it, but this house was built 1871 through 1913 by the E. Ross Charles Landry family. In the late 70s, it was purchased by Charles Bordelon and, in fact, cut in 5 pieces and moved to this location. And the Bordelon family took about 2.5, 3 years to completely restore it. A lot of people said it couldn't be done, but it was a labor of love for them, and they succeeded, as you can see.
I can imagine, and to think that this lot with those beautiful 100-year-old oaks and pecan trees are there just sitting here waiting for the house to be put up right in this yard.
He apparently did his homework and came out and says, this is the place for the old house, and brought it out here, and now it sits on 9 acres with these beautiful oak trees. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Just fantastic. Now, the home has an incredibly interesting name, and of course, most bed and breakfasts do have a nice name, but this one's very special.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how you chose it.
Right. Well, it's really quite interesting. We had a contest, and it got into the newspapers to name the old bed and breakfast for us and get a free night, and one of the members of the family called and said, and in fact also wrote and said that when the grandchildren were coming up from that marriage, they would say to their parents, let's go to the country and see Grandma and Papa. And so the country house evolved from that, and that's really what it means, literally the country house.
The country home, La
Yes, sir.
Maison de Campagne.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, it really is in the country, even though the city is right around the corner. What do guests like most about coming out here?
I think it's to escape out from the city. They put the kids with their mother-in-law, father-in-law, grandparents, come out. It's on 9 acres. We offer the pastoral setting, the quiet, the peace, the area to walk around. Of course, the swimming pool will be open, and it's really a nice place to retreat to.
Now, it must have been a leap of fate that brought you and JoeAnn into the B&B business.
Well, actually, yes, sir, it did, but actually we had a dream. We had been in Europe for 3.5 years, fell in love with the bed and breakfast experience, and then said, this is something we could do. So we came back to the States in the late 70s, and for 12 years, as we moved around in the military, began to look and to formulate our plans of what we were to do. Of course, Lafayette is close to our home. My wife's half Cajun, and this is where we came to start our business.
Has it been a good move for you?
Yes, sir, it really has. It's been a wonderful experience. It's a husband and wife team. It's a husband and wife endeavor. It's something that we've been able to do together, and really it's been very gratifying for both of us.
Now, what's the greatest challenges for someone like yourself who hadn't been an innkeeper, certainly hadn't been in the food and beverage business? What was the toughest thing about it?
I think the toughest thing for me was to realize that you're really on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's the thing that a lot of people, when they dream about starting a B&B, they just discount it. But it's a full-time job, it's 7 days a week, and you have to learn to pace yourselves. We take off 1 or 2 days a month to just stand down, kind of look at the place in terms of maintenance, and to really recharge our batteries.
Now, what about your other friends that own B&Bs, other friends in the industry? Do you ever have to just pick up the phone and give them a call for a little support?
Actually, more often than you realize, and vice versa. It is a good net, and we have a bed and breakfast association in the state, the Louisiana B&B Association, and we do network for reservations, and we do. We really call each other for advice, because I may have an experience that I can share with others. They will have one they can share with me to avoid pitfalls or to really handle situations really to the benefit of the traveling public.
Now, do you and your wife ever just escape to one of your own bedrooms here?
Yes, sir, we do. we really do, and I think that's one of the keys to B&B business, is to take time out to spend a night in each one of your rooms on a recurring basis. And from there, you gain a new perspective of the customer and what they're looking at, what they see that you might not catch.
Now, that's a very, very interesting point. Why would guests want to return to your home in the country?
Well, you see the ambiance, you've mentioned the trees, you see the bedrooms, but I think the star of our bed and breakfast is JoeAnn and her cooking ability. I mean, she has been cooking since she was 7 or 8 years old. And I think you had her pie, did you? Yeah.
Oh boy, have I ever. No, well, I could see that. I could definitely see why somebody would want to come back just for another slice of that pie. Anyway, Fred, thanks so much for being so hospitable to us, and it's been just a great day spent here in the country with you.
John, it's been our pleasure.
Good, thanks so much. And thanks to all of you for coming to visit as we continue to visit the bed and breakfasts of the Bayou State and cook up more great Taste of Louisiana. Yeah, that pie is not a bad idea. That'd bring me back. But the hammock outside isn't.
To learn more about A Taste of Louisiana with Chef John Folse and Company, visit PBS online at the internet address on your screen. Hot beignets and warm boudoirs by Chef John Folse is available for $29.95. This companion book to the series features over 150 recipes. To order, call 1-800-973-7246 or write to the address on your screen.
Major funding for A Taste of Louisiana with John Folse and Company is made possible in part by Zatarain's authentic New Orleans-style dinner mixes. Zatarain's, a good way to jazz up dinner and a real New Orleans original since 1889.
Louisiana. She's the exception and never the rule. She's a mystery that asks not to be solved, but simply to be experienced. Louisiana, where you can come as you are and leave different. Additional funding is provided by the Friends of Louisiana Public Broadcasting and the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting.